For years, Canadians believed the Trudeau children were growing up behind a protective shield, far away from politics, scandal, and the pressures of public life. From the outside, the image was comforting: a modern prime minister, a charismatic wife, and 3 children who seemed confident, balanced, and serene. But the truth behind those polished family portraits was far more complicated. Behind closed doors, the Trudeau household was shifting, quietly, emotionally, in ways the public never saw. Now, with their parents divorced and their father losing support, the children are no longer just watching from the sidelines. Each one is reacting in their own way. One is stepping cautiously into the spotlight. One has turned inward, deeply affected by the fracture. And the youngest is growing up far from the world of power his family once knew. The way Sophie Trudeau's 3 children live today, what they say, what they don't, and how they appear in public, is revealing more than anyone expected. Their lives are quietly exposing the truth about the marriage, the breakup, and the secrets their parents never shared. To find out more, let's dive into Empire Elegance. Life inside the Trudeau household was never truly private, even during moments meant to feel ordinary. Every outing carried the possibility of cameras. Every family interaction existed within the awareness that it could be observed, interpreted, or politicized. Sophie worked deliberately to resist that reality. She avoided overexposing her children. She resisted turning them into campaign symbols. She tried to create routines that felt grounded and emotionally safe, despite the extraordinary environment that surrounded them. Still, children are perceptive. They sense emotional shifts even when adults insist everything is fine. Over time, the emotional balance inside the household began to change in subtle ways. Justin's responsibilities intensified. Sophie's role became symbolic. The distance between public performance and private reality widened quietly, and the children were the first to feel it. Long before the separation announcement in 2023, those close to the family say the marriage had already entered a different phase. Schedules no longer aligned. Time together became fragmented. For adults, these changes can be rationalized as professional strain. For children, they are simply felt. By the time Sophie and Justin Trudeau announced their separation, the children had already been living inside a quiet transition for months, possibly longer. The public was surprised. The children were not. There were no big public fights, but there was growing distance, and that can be just as damaging, especially in a family always in the spotlight. Divorce does not arrive as a single moment for children. It unfolds gradually through altered routines, changed living spaces, and emotional absences that are difficult to explain. Bedrooms shift, schedules change. Parents stop sharing space in the same way. For the Trudeau children, things were even more complicated because the public was watching. Even when the cameras left, they knew their family still lived in the national spotlight. Each child absorbed this reality differently, shaping how they now relate to visibility, privacy, and identity. Xavier James Trudeau, the eldest, now stands at the edge of adulthood, carrying one of the most recognizable last names in Canada. He is tall, composed, and increasingly thoughtful. His limited public appearances have drawn attention not because of what he says, but because of how carefully he manages visibility. People often notice that he's quiet and doesn't like being in the spotlight. Xavier was old enough to understand the separation fully. He witnessed the emotional distance that preceded it and became aware of how public power can quietly erode private life. Those close to Sophie say he asked difficult questions and noticed silences that were never explained publicly. What stands out most is that Xavier appears far more aligned with his mother's emotional worldview than his father's political instincts. He cares about music, global issues, and helping others, but stays away from politics. Most people believe he's staying quiet on purpose. People often wonder if he'll go into politics someday, but Sophie doesn't want her children seen as future leaders. She knows how hard that life can be, because she lived it. Being born into a political dynasty creates expectations long before a child can decide who they want to be. For Xavier, the Trudeau name opens doors while simultaneously narrowing options. Insiders say Sophie has worked deliberately to counter that pressure, encouraging independence of thought rather than inherited ambition. She wants her children to engage with the world critically, not obediently. That philosophy alone represents a quiet rejection of the life she once inhabited. Elegance, the middle child, has always been described as sensitive, observant, and emotionally intuitive. Friends of the family quietly suggest that she experienced the separation not as a structural change, but as a personal emotional loss. Rather than acting out, she withdrew. She became more guarded, more private, and less comfortable with visibility of any kind. Sophie has hinted, without naming her, that one of her children was particularly affected by the emotional side of the separation. Many believe this was Elegance. What made it harder for her was that everyone knew. Most kids go through divorce in private, but Elegance knew her classmates, teachers, and others were aware of what was happening in her family. Sophie chose to keep her children out of the spotlight, putting their feelings first. For Elegance, that protection seemed especially important. Hadrien, the youngest, is growing up in circumstances entirely different from those his siblings experienced. He does not remember peak Trudeau power or constant media presence. He's grown up in Sophie's new, quieter life, away from politics and the public spotlight. People close to Sophie say Hadrien helped her stay grounded after the split, bringing back a sense of routine and calm. But even growing up away from politics doesn't mean he's free from its impact. One day, Hadrien will understand what his family stood for and why it ended. That moment will shape how he sees himself for years to come. Children raised around power often struggle later with identity. When a family's public role collapses, the private question becomes unavoidable. Who are we without it? For the Trudeau children, this question is forming quietly in the background. They are learning that status can disappear, that admiration can turn to scrutiny, and that public narratives rarely reflect private truth. Sophie's decision to step away from visibility appears rooted in this understanding. By removing her children from political performance, she has given them something rare, the space to define themselves without an audience. This might be the most important choice she's made as a mother. There's a hard truth people often ignore. Children show the feelings adults try to hide. Xavier's quietness, Elegance pulling away, and Hadrien's sheltered life all point to a family that slowly broke apart in private. Sophie has never publicly criticized Justin, but her decisions after the separation speak quietly and clearly. She stepped away from the stage. She returned to Montreal. She took her children out of the political spotlight. These were not impulsive decisions. They were deliberate acts of protection. Sophie and Justin continue to co-parent respectfully, and public appearances suggest cooperation. However, insiders describe two very different emotional environments. Justin remains immersed in political life, where visibility, pressure, and image management dominate daily existence. Sophie has chosen privacy, healing, and emotional autonomy. Children feel these contrasts instinctively. Over time, they gravitate toward the environment that feels safer and more authentic. The shocking secret is not scandal, rebellion, or public breakdown. It is distance. Distance from politics. Distance from spotlight. Distance from the image Canada once believed in. Sophie's children are not being groomed to inherit power. They are being raised to survive it. In a world obsessed with legacy, that choice may be the most radical inheritance of all. Once presented as symbols of a modern political dynasty, the Trudeau children now tell a far more revealing story. They show what power does to families, and what happens when someone chooses to step away in order to protect what matters most. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to Empire Elegance, and hit the notification bell for more powerful stories about the lives and legacies of the world's most influential families. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.